Hello, Bible readers. It is Monday, December 28th. We are reading Psalms 3, 4, 12, 13, 28, and 55 today, and John chapter 2, verse 13 through chapter 3, verse 15. John will tell a story, like verses 13 to 22, and then comment, like in verses 23 to 25. And then the Nicodemus story, which is chapter 3, verses 1 to 21, and then a few other encounters that Jesus has with John the Baptist and the Samaritan woman, and then comment, chapter 4, verses 31 to 38. I say all that to I want to keep driving this home that John is so very different than the synoptics. Where he puts stories, how he tells the stories, the shape of the whole gospel, it's just different. And so it's good for us to see that John will oftentimes have a story and then make his own commentary on it, and then a story or two, more comments on it. Notice that driving the money changers out of the temple, for example, that's the beginning of John's gospel, not toward the end where the synoptics would have it. Here we also see how the Jews, remember we're going to put quotations around that as a label meant to be talking about those who resist the proclamation that Jesus is making. And here we see how the Jews react to Jesus. They react with mistrust, misunderstanding, and in stark contrast to Mary. We've just heard Mary's response. Now we see how not everybody responds that way. It's not like this is a no-brainer for everybody. There's a lot of wordplay in the Gospel of John that Greek speakers would have caught right away, showing that the Jews, they just don't want to get it. They're missing. It's almost like, in a play or in a book, we can see how a word is intended, maybe because it's spelled a little differently or it's said just a little differently, with a different emphasis on a different syllable. And we would catch more of that in the Gospel of John if we all spoke and wrote Greek, but we don't. And so just know that that's happening in this Gospel a lot too, where the Jews are then painted as those who they're just not getting it. They do want another sign, right? The Jews always want another sign. And Jesus knows, we see in the comments in verses 23 to 25, that Jesus doesn't want to trust himself simply to people who believe because of signs, constantly saying, dance for us, entertain us, show us, prove it to us. And he'll say a lot more on that as the gospel goes on. Nicodemus is approaching Jesus as a rabbi, a miracle worker, a teacher. He is not approaching him as the Lamb of God or the Son of God. And so when he gets into this conversation with Jesus, the whole thing is just beyond. He is baffled. This whole new birth thing, the breaking in of God from above, it's other. And so Nicodemus is on a journey as well. Okay, the Psalms real quick. Psalm 3, God helps those who cannot help themselves. That saying, God helps those who can help themselves, or who choose to help themselves, that's not biblical. God is our refuge, is what Psalm 3 is saying. Psalm 4, something 4 is a part of 3 originally, because they're so linked. Psalm 12, Psalm 11 is a psalm about when the foundations are destroyed, when the foundations of our lives are destroyed. Psalm 12 would be a good prayer in 11's circumstances. So it makes sense that 12 would follow 11. Psalm 13 is the shortest example of a prayer for help or individual lament. Luther says, I love this is so very Lutheran, the mood of this prayer is where hope despairs and despair hopes at the same time. He's always that both and, saint and sinner, now but not yet kind of guy. Psalm 28 is an individual lament. It expands at the end into the whole community. It starts as an individual lament, and then by the end, it speaks to the whole community's lament. The Lord goes from the Lord is my strength to the Lord is our strength. And Psalm 55, that's a psalm of lament, again, prayer for help. It's especially disorganized and chaotic, which is kind of appropriate to the mood it's trying to convey, that the psalmist feels like life is disorganized and chaotic. I am one with my God. My God is with us, all of us at all times and in all places.